From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
Today our editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami is spending his 7th night at the Loja jail. Today also, in a shocking move, Mumbai police has arrested at 7:40 a.m. this morning our assistant vice president, Ghanshyam Singh. Not only did they arrest him, ladies and gentlemen, they then went on to parade him in a black cloth at the Kila court where they produced him, and then they took him into police custody. This in a case that is a fabricated one. This in a fake TRP case. This in a case that reeks of malice, that reeks of vendetta. This is all happening when even Arnab, when he was arrested, was paraded without his shoes. All this reeks of malice, and this is something that when we knock on the doors of the Supreme Court, we shall be informing them. But as we remember this, as we remember the malice and the state emergency that we are talking about, as we remember how the state is being used as a police state, we also remember that all these cases that are cropping up one after the other have only one particular motive: vendetta. We continue to look at this and we'll continue to debate this, but the highlight is Republic TV is not going to give up without a fight, a good fight that we fight for you, the citizens of India. And all this is coming up as debates today, as the first debate this evening with Niranjan and me is going to be Supreme Court, that Arnab has moved, and tomorrow is that hearing for his bail in the topmost court of the country where we knock the doors for justice. And debate number 2 this evening, we tell you the results as they are. The Bihar elections, the national picture. And here are the headlines, this debate this evening on The Debate Today. India's highest court will be hearing Arnab Goswami's bail plea at 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday. Non-stop witch hunt against Team Republic Assistant VP of Distribution Ghanshyam Singh is arrested. Paraded like a terrorist with a black cloth covering his face, Ghanshyam also remanded to a 3-day police custody in a fake TRP case. Republic Jan Ki Baat exit poll gets closest to the real numbers as the battle for Bihar goes down the wire. As NDA gets an edge in the seesaw contest, RJD fires a sensational fixing allegation at JDU and BJP. BJP celebrates, JDU officer wears a deserted look, will 7 seats with less than 200 vote margin draw curtains on the cliffhanger in Bihar. Ladies and gentlemen, for 7 days, over 150 hours, a man who has served the nation, a man who has been a journalist for over 2 decades, has been in judicial custody. And this for a case in which there was a closure in 2019. This in an alleged suicide case that was committed in 2018. We're trying to look at that, but as we are, there is also an arrest of our assistant vice president at 7:40 a.m. today morning, and he's paraded at Kila Court in a black cloth. As we look at this, we try and understand that case after case continues to be filed against Republic TV. We continue our fight, but this, as we said, is a fight we'll continue for you, our viewers. Take a look at what happened today.
With 1,000 diyas and a grand aarti on the ghats of Yamuna, India is praying for Arnab Goswami, who will spend 7th night in judicial custody.
हजारों दीपक अर्नब जी के नाम से मां यमुना के गोद में मैंने दान दिया है कि हमारे अर्नब को बाहर लाइए मां यमुना। मैं साधु हूं, लेकिन पहले एक नागरिक हूं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट न्याय करेगा, अर्नब बाहर आएंगे।
This special offering comes on the eve of Supreme Court hearing Arnab's plea for bail.
There's a hearing before a bench of Justice Chandrachud and Justice Indira Banerjee. It's a very critical day when Arnab is knocking on the doors of the Supreme Court. When he was being moved out from Alibag to Taloja jail, he kept saying, it is the Supreme Court that I have faith in, and it's the Supreme Court that will give me justice.
And as Arnab awaits justice, the persecution against Republic Media Network continues. Republic Assistant Vice President of Distribution Ghanshyam Singh was arrested at 7:40 a.m. from his home in the fake TRP case, despite diligently undergoing 40 hours of questioning. But the terrorist-like treatment meted out to a respected employee of Republic Media Network has enraged the nation. He was produced in court with a black cloth covering his face.
Ghanshyam, paraded with a black cloth, his head covered with a black cloth, was taken inside the police station. The fake TRP case has completely fallen apart.
With the FIR that names another channel,
That in November 2019, Vishal received a call from someone known Mr. Vinay. Mr. Vinay asked him to approach the 5 panel homes in Mumbai and ask them to watch India Today television daily for 2 hours. Hansa 7-page report, basis on which the FIR was filed.
to a report that was the basis of the FIR, to the tape that reveals alleged witness coercion.
अगर उन्हें मार और पड़ी हो कहीं तो बहुत कबूला है कि यार भारत वाले का ही वो कैसे कहते उन्होंने ना पेपर पर लिख गए हैं यार भारत का हाँ और फिर पुलिस वाले दरवाजे आज ही डिपार्टमेंट आ रहे हैं दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट क्या हुई
To the fake news that was peddled against Republic TV.
This document reiterates everything I've been saying. This document underscores that everything that I have said on behalf of the company, of which I am a proud editor-in-chief, is wholly and completely correct. This statement is not from me. It is from a third-party registered auditor of Hansa Vision.
To Hansa Group's revelations against Mumbai police in High Court.
Hansa has said that they face threat by encounter cop Sachin Vaze to implicate Republic TV. Vaze wanted Hansa to say Republic aired a fake report. And I was called, and some of our colleagues were called to be questioned on this Hansa report, saying, where did you get the report from? Hansa has filed a writ petition saying they were under pressure from the crime branch to call the report fake.
The lies are crumbling, the vendetta is clear, and the fight is now in highest court of the country. Let's debate.
As Arnab spends the 8th night in jail tonight, that's the 7th night in jail. I think it's the 7th night in jail, and tomorrow will be his 8th day in the Taloja jail just outside Mumbai. Joining us on his show tonight, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Rajya Sabha MP and national spokesperson of the BJP, he's live with us. Okay, Pratibha Prahalad, who's a renowned artist and social and women rights activist. Indrajit Lankesh joining us live from Bengaluru. He's a filmmaker. Neelam Krishnamurthy, activist. Shazia Ilmi, activist and journalist. Professor P.K. Basu, who's an author, joining us live from Manila, Philippines this evening, will be with us, and Major General G.D. Bakshi, defense expert. Now, all of them are panelists who often join us and join Arnab on the debate and on Republic TV on different subjects. But tonight they are here to fight for Arnab, simply put. Want to start with the most defining picture this evening. My colleagues Abhishek and Rhythm continue to be with us and lead the fight to ensure that Arnab is safe most of all and free as soon as possible. I want to start with the defining image of my colleague Ghanshyam Singh, who was arrested at 7:40. Shazia, as a journalist, you will understand how much it takes to prepare for election results day. At 7:40, just when our coverage had begun, that's Ghanshyam Singh, AVP of distribution. You know what it takes to prepare for election results? It takes production work in the background. You know, that's one day when all television networks will ensure that every household is watching Republic TV. That was Ghanshyam's role on a day like today, especially in the state of Maharashtra, because he's the AVP of distribution for the Western region. Ghanshyam was very carefully targeted and picked up from his residence at 7:40, 20 minutes before the first vote is counted. On a day like this, and he was paraded in the court with a black cloth on his head. And Ghanshyam is a colleague, and I know that he has been at the crime branch for over 40 hours, over 7 or 8 times. Now, I just want to ask you, when I show those pictures, when you look at those pictures of a professional, of a TV professional walking into a court with his head covered in a black cloth, now this witch hunt continues, this persecution has crossed all limits. But I want to ask you the first question, Shazia. What goes on in your mind when you look at these pictures and everything that's going on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, there's a long delay, so please go ahead.
Yes. You know, it is so sad. And you know, what you was just mentioning is something that did not miss me at all. As I woke up this morning and realized that this is an important day, and it was so important for Republic, and I knew how geared up every television channel would be for today. This is one major election happening after a long, long time. And since Republic Bharat has become #1 channel in Hindi, and of course Republic, the English one, continues to be the #1 channel, it was very crucial and important for these elections to be covered. And of course Arnab remains the main anchor, so to speak, and he carries the entire, the entire team by sheer dint of his strength and talent and brilliance. And so it was done deliberately. The timing of his arrest and illegal detention is totally suspect. And I feel so bad about your colleague who was picked up, because today is a very important day where production is concerned, because you're supposed to put together so many things, whether it's the inputs, for making sure that the input and output is working perfectly well, whether the updates are coming in time, whether graphics are all ready. So it's such a crucial day for the production head. And for them to target him today and pick him up early in the morning just shows how rattled and spooked and scared they are. So they are trying to hit out in every possible way they can. Attack Arnab, attack him on the TRP front, attack him actually even physically, because he's been literally assaulted and dragged out of his house, and then attack his team. And you know, they're also trying to reach out to the advertisers and trying to give a message. So this is a deliberate and very sinister attempt by this very rattled and spooked government. And this action of theirs smacks of cowardice. But I'm really worried. I just want to say this to you. And I've been really worried since the weekend. Since I heard Bombay High Court reserve its verdict and say you're free to go to the Sessions Court, if at all. I do not understand that, this legal gobbledygook, and I would really like to appeal to all courts, Bombay High Court and the Sessions Court, and now the Supreme Court, that, you know, enough is enough. Please do not do this. I think it's grossly unfair, and we understand why this is being done, and I don't think we can stand it, and we all have to speak out in one voice.
Yeah.
In fact, I could also, Niranjan, if I could go across to Mukesh Ji, who's been on so many debates with Arnab in the last few months, I would say. Mukesh Ji, whether it's any debate that you've been on, And Mukesh ji, we'll just come back to you because I want to go across to Neelam Krishnamurthy and Sudhanshu Trivedi also. And Sudhanshu Trivedi, I've spoken earlier, there have been so many stories, so many investigations that Arnab has carried out. This is one man, this is one journalist who has spoken on every story, whether it is trying to save India's daughters, whether it is talking about corruption, the Commonwealth Games, the Augusta scam, the Commonwealth Games scam, the Colgate scam, the 2G scam, the Anna movement, everything started when Arnab took a stand. Today, as we say, we are seeing clearly in every city, India is taking a stand for Arnab. Over 5 million people have signed a petition asking for Arnab to be released. The one picture that is also clear here, Sudhanshu Trivedi, is there is clearly a state of emergency in the state that is also being contrasted and seen akin to what happened in 1975.
You have seen that Shazia has given a clear-cut importance of today when the voting day was coming, and you have said that you're such an important position holder in their institution has been arrested today. But I would like to remind our viewers, there is also a historic importance of today. Today is the 10th of November. On 10th of November 1659, Chhatrapati Shivaji defeated Afzal Khan's Adil Shahi forces. And Afzal Khan was too much overwhelmed by his power कि वो ये कहता था कि शिवाजी को कहता था ये तो पहाड़ी चूहा है, और उसके बाद छल से उन्होंने छत्रपति शिवाजी को मारने की कोशिश की थी। मगर याद रखिए कि छत्रपति शिवाजी ने उस अफजल खां को कहां उतार दिया था। ये आज वही 10 नवंबर का दिन है। एंड टुडे द महागाड़ी गवर्नमेंट इज बिहेविंग लाइक व्हाट अफजल खां हैज डन ऑन around 361 years before. And on the present context, I would like to say that today we are having full confidence that the Supreme Court, which is considered to be custodian of the spirit of the Constitution. I would like to remind Keshwan and Bharti case 1973, in which the Supreme Court has clearly said that they will not allow anything which can alter the basic structure of the Constitution, and the free media is a prerequisite for the basic structure of a democratic constitution. So in my opinion, it is not the issue of going into any technicality, it is the issue of going into the spirit, the manner in which Arnab is being arrested, and one of the biggest media institution is being targeted on such a false premise, and that type of FIR in which originally their name was not there at all, and the manner in which it is said, I think that the Supreme Court judges are having the jurisprudence, because this will set up such a dastardly precedent. याद रखिएगा कि जब एक बार कास्टिज्म, क्रिमिनलाइजेशन और ये सब कांग्रेस ने 17 में शुरू किया था तो चीज कहां तक पहुंची थी। इसलिए मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि अगर ऐसा हुआ तो it will give a free hand to any of the state government in the time to come. There are 3-4 laws in this country, I would not like to name them, in which the complaint by a complainant is enough for somebody to get arrested. तो शुरू हो जाएगा एक दौर, कहां भाई इनसे कंप्लेन कराओ, इनको अरेस्ट कर दो, इनको अंदर कर दो। तो मुझे लगता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट पूरी विवेक और प्रज्ञा के साथ इस विषय पर निर्णय लेगा, और संविधान की मूल आत्मा को घायल करने का जो प्रयास महाराष्ट्र की सरकार के द्वारा किया गया है अर्णब गोस्वामी के केस में, उसे सफल नहीं होने देंगे।
Yeah. Sudhanshu ji, let me tell you, Abhishek, you know, in this particular case, I want to, lay out the sequence of events for everyone who's watching. Arnab's fight continues, and tomorrow the Supreme Court will hear, right? Let me tell you and prove to you how this litany of fake cases against Republic TV. Abhishek, you can come in. I just want to, I'll just list how the TRP case itself has been such a fake one, right? And then, Abhishek, I'll come to you and you can go to General G.D. Bakshi. But let me tell you, in this particular case, the sequence of events, the chronology, as they like to call it, a section of people, they make fun about the word chronology. Let me tell you the chronology in the TRP case, right? The fake TRP case. On the 8th of October, listen very carefully, 8th of October, Parambir Singh, the police commissioner, holds a news conference and declares that Republic TV is guilty in a TRP scam. That is on the 8th of October. Hear me very carefully. And this is based on an FIR that is filed on the 6th of October, just about 36 hours ago. Okay? Guess what? he thought the FIR and the complaint, original complaint, would never come out. On the 6th of October, the FIR named India Today, right? The complaint based on which the FIR was filed named India Today. And then we also exposed how BARC had fined India Today. And then there was a witness coercion tape that came out where witnesses admitted that they were being forced to take Republic TV and Republic Bharat's name, which is now in the hands of the CBI. And then Hansa also came out once again in a statement and contradicted the Mumbai police version on how they went from 400 rupees liya gaya tha, and then they made up a story about 32 lakh rupees. And then they said they couldn't find any evidence. We gave them every account, including toilet paper, the camera with which my frame is going out, my tie, my suit, every account detail ledger was given to them. They didn't find a thing. You know what they did, General Bakshi? They said 11 lakh rupees hawala. 11 lakh rupees hawala was given. I'm not kidding. They said 11 lakh rupees hawala. And let me tell you what happened after that. BARC also wrote to us saying there is no evidence against you. And then Hansa, based on whom the entire fake TRP case was lodged, went to the Bombay High Court and said, our staff is being coerced to implicate Republic TV. We are being forced to say that the complaint based on which this case was filed is a fake one. So they were told, go and file a case against Republic and tell them that the complaint based on which we opened up the entire case was fake. And Hansa has told the court that our employees are now being forced, threatened, harassed by an encounter specialist over the table, and we are being asked to nail Republic TV. Abhishek, I want you to take this forward with General G.D. Bakshi. Ghanshyam, by the way, is arrested in that case. Yes, go ahead.
Had it not been for the sinisterness of this investigation, had it not been for the sinisterness of this investigation, I would have actually laughed at the shoddiness with which it is being carried out. Sudhanshu Trivedi mentioned about Shivaji and how he took on Afzal Khan on its anniversary today. But, we are not living in those times. Unfortunately, Arnab can't do a Shivaji on the state, and we have to abide by the constitution and the rules and submit ourselves to the law. Hopefully, the court would see the machinations of the state, abuse of power, essentially the state saying, we will get you. Damn the media freedom, damn the fundamental rights, damn Article 21, right to life and freedom, and the state just wants to get you anyhow. Also, Sudhanshu mentioned Kesavananda Bharati and the basic features of the constitution. I have to mention this, and Rhythm perhaps could elaborate on it. It's little unfortunate that when Arnab's interim bail application went to the High Court, this whole issue that the investigation in this case, in this suicide case, is compromising media freedom, is an attack on freedom of expression, because it is aimed at somehow compromising the capacity of Republic network to function daily and bring news and information to its large mass of viewers daily. So in a sense, this is an attempt at media freedom, and as I was saying, the state is trying to get you. General G.D. Bakshi can get onto that.
I would like to state unequivocally that the mobsters in Maharashtra are trying to make a spectacle out of our democracy in front of the whole wide world. They are trying to make India look like a banana republic. It's only in that God-benighted country called Pakistan where a journalist can be picked up, tortured the whole night, and his dead body dumped on the bloody streets. That happens in Pakistan. It's only in Pakistan that a Sarabjit, who you torture and try and break down, and he doesn't, then you throw him to the wolves, you throw him to a whole gang of murderers, rapists, etc. in prison, and they beat him to death. Is this Sarabjit's Pakistan, where Sarabjit was murdered? Is this China, where you can't speak the truth except you have to parrot the lines given by the government? That is what we pride ourselves in. We are a democracy. When we fight on the battlefield, we tell our soldiers before you are going into the assault, look, we are special. We are all Indians. We are all proud of the fact that we are Indians. We are citizens of a free country. And you are fighting to safeguard the freedom of your brothers and sisters back home. so that they can breathe in the free air. They are not under the jackboots of Pakistan or China. We have a new set of mob. We have another mob which tells us that they are above the constitution, they are above the law, they can kill anybody they want to, it will be passed off as suicide, they can arrest anybody they want to, no rule of law dare, hold on to them, they can break anybody's house. I mean, what is going on? The people of Indian origin in the United States, people in, Europe, etc., they're all ringing it up and asking, what the hell? We thought the last time this happened was emergency. In 1975-76, when we were told that the right to life and liberty has been done away with, it was taken to the courts. A very courageous judge in the Jabalpur High Court said, you can't do this. And 18 High Court said you can't do this. It was taken to the then Supreme Court in 1976 and they caved in. Except for one, Justice H.R. Khanna, whose name goes down as a legend in India's history. In the darkest hour, there were people like him who stood up, Nani Palkhiwala, who stood up for our freedoms, for the freedom of the common citizen. People are today asking, Arnab is such a prominent citizen. He is the editor of one of the biggest news chains in this country. If this can happen to him, what about us? It could happen to you tomorrow, and I'm so astonished to hear the deafening silence of the media. Deafening silence of the media. You think it can't happen to any other editor tomorrow? And complicity by silence is the worst form of moral cowardice. Look, what I want to say is, I'm very happy that it has been taken out of the hands of the mobs at least, and it is now with the Supreme Court of India. That is the last line of our defense, of the defense of our liberties, the defense of our citizens, howsoever poor and meek he may be. He's an Indian. He's safeguarded by a constitution, his right to life and liberty. That cannot be taken away except by due process of law, which has been violated in Mumbai. It cannot be taken away except by due process of law. There was an honorable minister of the Maharashtra state who was caught on camera saying we have set up a special cell to go 24/7 after him and he will soon be committing suicide. And then we saw this being done. Then we saw this being done, one case, second case, third case, and the amazing sloppiness with which these cases were filed. Nobody did his due diligence. What the hell does it matter? Who cares for the law? You're the handmaiden of the law kind of a thing. We can do anything that we want and get away with it because we are the mob. Anybody who dare raise his voice, people are leaving Mumbai. Are you aware? Decent citizens, ladies are leaving Mumbai. We are not safe here anymore. If one poor girl can be molested, done whatever God knows and thrown from the 13th or 14th floor, who's to say it won't happen to the next tomorrow? And you dare not criticize. Forget about taking action. Where is the rule of law? Sir, where is the rule of law? That is why I appeal to the majesty of this law. The whole world is watching us. Is India going to be made into a banana republic by a mob sitting in Mumbai? They're not even in power in Delhi. They're cocking a snook at the central government. They are cocking a snook at our courts. Cocking a snook and saying, Jo karna hai karna. Let's see what you can do to us. You can do sweet Fanny Adams. Are we going to sit and watch? Because our freedoms are under attack. It is not a question of just Arnab. It is a question, it concerns us all.
Major General G.D. Bakshi.
It's our right to freedom. It's our right to liberty. Our right to freedom of expression.
Major General G.D. Bakshi, you speak from the heart. Always. And this is the point that you always make. I want to go across to someone who's been fighting just like you've been speaking. Neelam Krishnamurthy, I've seen you For nearly 25 years, you've been in the courts of the country, and today Arnab is knocking on the very same doors that you've been fighting for. Not only for the lives of your children, but 32 other children, youngest of them being 30 years old, who lost their life in the Upar tragedy. And I remember when Arnab took up the case, he said, we have to fight for this case. Nobody's fighting, and it's not about this mere compensation that the courts have said have been given to them in some cases, but we have to fight for the rights of these parents who've lost their loved ones. And this is the whole point that we are trying to make here. He wanted to fight for only the common people, because that's what we always believed at Republic we are. We fight for people like us, people who need to knock on the doors of the courts for justice. In your case, ma'am, I've seen how you ran pillar to post. And today in Arnab case, we are seeing what's being done. Whether it's the Chief Judicial Magistrate who gives a correctful order that this is not even a case where prima facie a case is made out, the same thing we are seeing repeated, because we're trying to fight the high and mighty just like you were in the Upar tragedy case.
Well, yes, Rhythm, I have been watching Arnab for the last 25 years myself, and he's been reporting on Upar fire tragedy. He's taken up this case. And not only Upar, I think I've seen him fighting for all the other cases which affect the common man's life, be it a case of drunk driving, be it a case where a patient is not being attended in a hospital, or where the rich and mighty flout the rules, and the hospitals, there's a fire in the hospital and people are dying, and when the authorities don't come in time. So it actually affects a day-to-day, a common man's life, a day-to-day problem. But my wish is, if you are going to stop a journalist like Arnab Goswami, who's been such a senior editor, who will have the guts to come forward and take up a cause for ordinary people, you want to silence them just because they are powerful critics. I'm sorry, this cannot be allowed. He's been a journalist. He's been in journalism for more than a decade. I've been seeing him myself. He's been taking up some very serious issues. But because you dare to question the authorities, to question the Mumbai police, and it's very obvious what the Mumbai police is doing. I think each one of us can see that this is vindictive politics. This is just vendetta, nothing else. So what more evidence do you want? I mean, a case which has a closure report which was filed 2 years back. The magistrate has accepted the report. As per the law, number one, the IO should have informed the complainant, or the magistrate should have issued a notice to the complainant. Arnab Goswami has not failed there. I'm sorry, it wasn't his responsibility. For the failure of the magistrate or the failure of the IO to perform his duty. Now you're suddenly coming and attacking him. Suddenly after 2 years you wake up. It's very clear there is some agenda somewhere. Otherwise, after 2 years, the Mumbai police wakes up and they say, oh my God, this is one case which has been pending, where they themselves filed a closure report. It's very intriguing, to be very honest. I mean, we were all taken by surprise when we read it early morning that he's been arrested at 6 o'clock by Mumbai police. I mean, you're not talking about the case. There is nothing that's being discussed in the media. Nobody knows. And this case, we all know this was there 2 years back, and we knew that the closure report was filed. And there are so many cases where closure reports are filed. Suddenly the police doesn't become so active and they start taking interest like that. We know how effective our police agencies are. We know how they are compromised.
Yeah. And let me tell you, you mentioned,
I think what we all need to do is...
Yes, ma'am. Please complete your point. Complete your point, Nilamji. Yeah.
No, I want to say that let's all stand together at the time of crisis. And all I can say, a message to Arnab is, Arnab, stay strong. You're too strong a man to go and commit suicide. I think you can make them commit suicide. So you stay strong and truth will prevail.
Yeah. And anybody who knows...
Because if you silence Arnab Goswami, you're going to silence the voice of a lot of Indians.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, when Arnab comes out of that Taloja jail, Neelam Krishnamurthy ji and to all our panelists, panelists. You know, we will remember a few scenes that have happened in the last few days. And Indrajit, let me read out some of those scenes. We will remember how today Ghanshyam was paraded with a black cloth on his head. We will remember that. We will remember how arrests were made in a case where Republic TV was not even named. We will remember that. We will remember how assault rifle wielding special forces came to his house. I was there, and Indrajit, I saw 30 to 40 AK-47 and M16 carbine wielding, men there, and I was appalled. I had never seen anything like that. I thought there was a terrorist operation going on. We will remember how Arnab Goswami was dragged, assaulted, family attacked, and those pictures are there. We showed you the visuals, proof of what happened inside his house. We will remember how Arnab Goswami's wife and son especially were targeted, and an FIR was filed against them under sections which ensured that they could be arrested at any point. We will remember that. We will remember how Arnab kept screaming outside that van through the window that he was assaulted by the jailer, assaulted by the jailer, assaulted by the jailer. We will remember images of how Arnab was pleading with his hands, saying that his life is in danger. On this channel, sitting in this studio for the last 3 years at Republic and 12 years before that, every night when Arnab begins the debate, Indrajit, I can tell you, his one-point focus has been to serve the people with every story, every word, every line. Indrajit.
Yes, there is a bit of a delay on sound. So, Niranjan, I completely agree with every word of what you said, and I've been very patiently listening to the elite panelists on Republic TV now, tonight. I heard that it's vendetta, it's a mockery of democracy, it's a spectacle of democracy. It's not just that. I want to say it's a murder of democracy. It's a complete murder of democracy which has happened on the 4th of November. I just want to go back to a little bit of history, because on the 4th of November, I was the first one to have a debate on this issue in the country. It's very sad when the whole country, when all the people are with Arnab Goswami, they are protesting for Arnab Goswami's release. Today, the media is silent. Me being a fellow journalist, I know the importance of the freedom of speech. Here today, it's a complete against the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the press. And I started to think about the dark days of emergency when Arnab was arrested. So I just want to talk a bit of history. 2018 was the case. I spoke to a very prominent lawyer in Bangalore in the debate. Then I spoke to a prominent retired police officer, senior police officer, and an activist. So from their feedback, I'm talking 2018 was the case, and the police themselves request for a B report and the closure of the case, and later they request for the opening of the case. But even after that, what is the evidence? This is not at all a case. We should not be requesting. This is not a case at all to be arresting Arnab Goswami, because where is the evidence? The only mistake what Arnab Goswami did was reporting on the gathering of migrant workers during COVID-19. Is that not a story? Speaking against Sonia Gandhi during the Palghar incident, is that not a story? 2 Swamijis got murdered. Who was responsible for that? At the same time, when they put a 306 section case of abetment of suicide, I just want to recap the same Congress government in Karnataka. What have they done? Because it's a selective. They have always done selective of protests, selective of cases, selective of judgment, selective of arrest. In Karnataka, there was a minister who was accused of abetment of suicide. As you know, you reported it, Niranjan. DYSP Ganapati died after leaving a suicide video of the minister was responsible for my death, who was the right hand to Siddaramaiah government. That was a clear-cut 306 abetment case. They did not arrest him. Why? Because he was close to Sonia Gandhi? Then there was another IAS officer in Karnataka, D.K. Ravi, committed a suicide. A lot of Congress leaders' names came out. That time, what did Siddaramaiah, the chief minister, did? He released some of the WhatsApp messages of another woman IAS officer saying that this D.K. Ravi, who was a very, very efficient officer, clean officer, that he was having an illicit affair with this woman IAS officer. Then that woman IAS officer's husband had to go to High Court to stop this, of protecting the woman's rights. So this is not a case at all. And this is a mockery. This is a murder of democracy. It's not just a mockery of democracy.
Yeah, but Indrajit, don't forget most important.
I feel,
yeah, Rhythm can come in. Rhythm, I just want to make a small point. You can take it forward. Okay, quickly, Indrajit. Quickly, Indra, and then Rhythm will come in.
I just want to, in this sad moment, being a fellow journalist, and of course Arnab, I just want to give him the words, and to his fans across the country and the world, I just want to tell one thing. I just want to tell you an anecdote or incident of Bal Gangadhar Tilak here. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, when he was fighting the British, he was writing in Marathi and the Britishers arrested him. But Bal Gangadhar Tilak, after his arrest, became a Lokmanya Tilak. First he was writing in Marathi, but he became so popular across India after that arrest. So today I just want to give these words of support, saying that once Arnab comes back, he's only going to get bigger and bigger. Today people are protesting across the world. So he's going to fight back, he's going to come out stronger. Absolutely. So there's nothing to worry. It's not a case at all, I'll say, Niranjan.
Yes, we know that.
I'm very sad today that fellow journalists had to support him. But the people in the country know it. People in the world, they're supporting him. And I, being a fellow journalist and a filmmaker, because I know the importance of the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, because there's a lot of fight, a lot of struggle which has gone pre-independence and after independence for our freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Today they're making a mockery of that, and they're making a mockery of the fourth pillar of the democracy, that's the media.
No, thank you for that, Indrajit.
I know that
let me tell you,
case at all, Niranjan, so nothing to worry. He's going to come out clean.
We are very confident of that, and let me tell you, making a small point, and I'll go across to Pratibha Prahlad, and Abhishek can come in after that. Pratibha Prahlad, adding to, I won't take names. I will not take names. Because he was speaking about old cases, other leaders facing, 306. There was a former UPA minister whose wife died under mysterious circumstances, charge sheeted for abetment to suicide. Charge sheeted. Didn't see special commandos going and picking anyone up, but that's not the point. That's besides the point. We're here to fight for Arnab. I want to come to you, Pratibha. Yeah, I won't talk about that. I won't take names because they're very, very... people are smart enough to understand. One second. Pratibha, I'll tell you why it's a... this vendetta is shining through, right? I'll just because people need to know on this debate. Our CEO was questioned, was summoned in an editorial case. I'll tell you the comedy of it, okay? And it's very serious. Our CEO, who's a business guy, was called to the police station in a fake case that was filed against us, in an editorial case. I've never seen a case that is filed against a TV channel for a story that we did based on sources. We were asked to reveal our sources, show proof. CEO was called. I'm telling you instances of why it's vendetta. Our CEO was called. CFO, who's the chief financial officer, was called for Palgad coverage. Problem that they had with what Arnab Goswami said. Editorial case, right? First of all, non-case. It fell apart. They called our CFO and asked him for details of the company structure. Okay, I'll tell you why it's vendetta. Our entire editorial team was booked for one story that we did, the same story for which our CEO was called. The FIR was against the entire editorial staff comprising over 1,000 members at the editorial media, Republic Media Network. Hansa, the complainant in the TRP case and a very respected RK Swami group in Chennai, was harassed by the Mumbai police by an encounter specialist, and this they have placed in a writ petition in front of the High Court. And I'll tell you, when we were doing the Sushant Singh Rajput story, my colleague Anuj was arrested and questioned by the anti-terrorist squad, the ATS, the terrorist anti-terrorist squad. Journalists arrested, questioned by the ATS outside Mumbai. They didn't even spare the Ola driver and the video journalist. And our advertisers were called criminals. All our advertisers were harassed, summoned by the same people. Pratibha.
Yes. So, Niranjan, Rhythm, more power to you. All that I have to say is that this is a case of state fascism. It's the worst, one of the worst cases of state fascism that we are, encountering in our lives. We never thought that in our lifetimes, there's going to be an instance where one of us is going to be picked up early in the morning and taken to jail, and cases, filed against him. Again, we have been fighting for the rights of criminals. We've been fighting for the rights, these human rights votaries in our country talk about the rights of criminals, of rapists, of murderers, and they say that bail is the rule and that jail is an exception for those kinds of convicts. Here is Arnab Goswami, who is the voice of, who's the conscience keeper of our nation. He's the voice of all the, middle-class people of our nation. And he brings forth, cases which other people just throw away, which other people just garbage. He brings it into the forefront and he fights for justice for those who are disempowered. And they pick him up early in the morning and they reopen a case, which is not even a case like so many of us are talking about. I'm dismayed. I'm heartbroken because sometimes, I get messages from so many people from across the world, like most of the other panelists were speaking about. And all of them say, what is happening to India? Where is the law and order in India? Shiv Sena does not deserve to be in government because Shiv Sena never knew how to rule. They did not know what law and order is. They've always broken law and order in their own state. And now they're breaking law and order as the keepers of law and order. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
That a party, a political party that does not even know the meaning of law and order now becomes the government in power that is supposed to, protect all its citizens. And how does it protect its citizens? By filing false cases against journalists, filing false cases against people like Arnab Goswami, who have forever stood by the country. For Arnab, it's always been country first. For Arnab, it's always been the Constitution of India first. It's always been the Supreme Court and the justice it delivers first. I appeal to the Supreme Court to do right by Arnab. And I have faith that Supreme Court will understand, because even in the worst criminal cases, the Supreme Court has come forth and said that as per Article 21 of the Constitution, which guarantees right to life and right to liberty of every single citizen of this country, that bail is the right of every citizen and that jail is an aberration. If bail is the rule and jail is an aberration, why is our Arnab Goswami, staying so many nights in jail?
Yeah.
He's not a criminal. He's not a traitor.
Well, they try to teach him a lesson, Pratibha.
And I don't understand why they're putting him in jail.
Yes, Abhishek.
Since Supreme Court is going to take up our special leave petition tomorrow, Niranjan, I have to make two quick points for the consideration of Honorable Lordship through our platform. And that is, just a few days back, a state employee in Maharashtra committed suicide and left a suicide note saying that he was doing so because he was not given salary by the state. Now, should that in any way, be considered? That is number one. Number two, I have a case, Gulab Pandit versus State of Maharashtra. The judgment had come in 2019, to be precise, Jan 30 of 2019. In that, the Bombay High Court had observed that mere name in suicide note without evidence of torture is not sufficient for charge of abetment to suicide, and went on to in fact quash the FIR. Now, why I mention this? Because A, it was Bombay High Court. B, one of the justices on the bench was also present in the bench that did not give interim relief of bail to Arnab yesterday. So what we are seeing is miscarriage of justice, and it is a prayer that the Supreme Court, when it takes it up tomorrow, makes that correction and gives relief to Arnab.
Yeah. General Bakshi wanted to come in, and then I'll give the last word to Sudhanshu Trivedi. He's been raising his hand as well. General Bakshi, quickly, sir. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Look, I am so happy that the case is out of Maharashtra and now with the Supreme Court of India. Such issues of national import, which impinge on the freedom of expression of all citizens, which impinge on the life and liberty, the right to life and liberty of all citizens, which impinges upon the freedom of the press in India, cannot be settled by a metropolitan or Mufassil court. It has to come to the highest judiciary in the land, and I am very happy it has at last come to the right place, and I am very certain that the Supreme Court will do justice, and justice, is not only has to be done, it has to be seen to be done by the whole world now, which is now watching. Taking a look at us, have we become a banana republic? Are we a gone case already, and has it happened so easily? When was it snuffed out? There is not only the institution of the courts. That's not the only refuge of the citizen. We have a National Human Rights Commission. When I was fighting in J&K, every third day one of our boys was taken over the coals, imprisoned, this, that, court of inquiry and the rest of it. Because any time a terrorist got killed, my God, the NHRC used to come, crying on us. Where is that NHRC, sir? Hypocrisy is the worst sin. Because now I'm getting an impression that this NHRC and other institution and this whole gang of, lawyers and NGOs were only there to stymie the operations of the Indian Army and security forces. And when there is a genuine attack on a citizen, and that too a prominent citizen and a member of the press and editor to boot, they are all silent, sir.
Sir, professional. General Bakshi.
The executive can play its role.
General Bakshi.
The executive can enforce president's rule there.
No, General Bakshi, let me tell you, professional, even professional.
Why only for one man? No, I'll just finish.
Okay, quickly, sir.
If you ask me why only for one man, sir, Wing Commander Abhinandan was also one man. The nation was ready to go to war with Pakistan. Give him back by 9 o'clock or aapki eat se eat baja denge. Did that not happen? Was he not one man? Could we not say, why should a nation go to war for one man? The nation owed it to him, the nation did it. So today we owe it to Arnab Goswami and to ourselves as citizens of a free country to see that we remain free.
Thank you, sir. Last 30 seconds. Sudhanshu Trivedi, last word to you. 30 seconds, sir. Sudhanshu.
Abhishek has categorically explained that there cannot be two benchmarks in one similar case. And the reference of Lokmanya Tilak has come. He was writing Kesari in Marathi and Maratha in English. Mahatma Gandhi has written in Harijan and Maulana Azad in Al-Hilal. Even during the British time, we never heard that any of these editors were dragged by hand. And even they were given the facility to write from the prison. Jawaharlal Nehru wrote a book from prison. So this government going to be more brutal than the British government. And finally, I would like to say, जो जनरल बख्शी ने कहा है, हमें विश्वास है कि यहाँ पर कोई पितामह भीष्म गुरु द्रोण और कृपाचार्य की तरह चीर हरण पर चुप नहीं रहेगा। और अगर चुप रहते हैं, तो जो रामधारी सिंह दिनकर की कविता की वह पंक्ति है कि जो चुप बढ़ बैठे रहते हैं वो भी अपराध के भागी होते हैं, कि समर शेष है नहीं पाप का भागी केवल व्याध। व्याध मीन्स बूचर, कसाई। समर शेष है नहीं पाप का भागी केवल व्याध, जो तटस्थ है समय लिखेगा उनका भी अपराध।
Sudhanshu ji, Pratibha, Indrajit, Neelam Krishnamurthy, Shazia, Professor Basu was not able to join us, and then General G.D. Bakshi. The easiest thing for us to do on a day like this would be to do the Bihar results. That would have been the easier way out. And you know, the easier thing for us to do right now, according to the messages that are coming in, would be to tone down and taper down and calm down and not talk about this again and again. And they say, you go silent and slowly everything will be okay. Hoping that when the coverage stops, slowly the heat will be off us. That would have been the easier choice. But sorry to break it to them, we will not slow down. Thank you very much for joining us on the debate on Arnab Show and fighting with us in this. Thank you very much.